So I just gave you an update that I got last night of $28 million for the Nazarene Fund. We are so grateful. I had to sign yesterday for a bridge loan until we can get some of that money because we are renting airplanes. And you don't know how much fun it is to put your name down for a bridge loan on a 737 or 20. But anyway, we are grateful. And I have to point out, Bill O'Reilly was on with us on Friday. He never said anything about it except congratulations. And Saturday, I found out that a donation had come through from a Mr. B. O'Reilly. And it was a significant donation. And I can't thank him enough. You should know that he is part of you and doing the right thing. Now, let me give you a story. Now, I am not saying that this is a feeling that we at the Nazarene Fund have noticed at all. But let me give you a story on what might be happening, according to one group of people that are trying to get planes out. This is an exclusive from the Daily Caller. The Biden administration has been an impediment to the private effort to get people out of Afghanistan, says Robert Strike, who's arranging privately chartered flights to get Americans and vulnerable Afghans out of the country. The Brits and the South Africans have been awesome and heroic in getting people through the gate. Strike, whose Washington-based lobbying firm in 2017 paid by the government of Afghanistan for U.S. government affairs and commercial sector advice, executive and legislative branch engagement, blah, 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 said there are dozens and dozens of times he has reached out to the administration and to the Department of State and has yet to hear back. Now, some would say others are engaging the senators, and the pressure is starting to build on the State Department. And that's why if you go to my Instagram page, while you slept last night, 2 planes from the Nazarene Fund landed and flew out 700 passengers, women and children and families being boarded on that plane. You'll see them being boarded on that plane on my Instagram page. Do we have those by any chance? We don't have them yet. I got them very, very late last night and was just given permission to show them. They are on the ground now. But it has been a really, really difficult thing to get the State Department to respond. The State Department has to give the other countries where the planes are landing permission. They have to say this is an American carrier and they're not human smuggling, and they're good to land. And all of the countries are waiting for that permission. And then they give you a window. So you have this window to take off and land. Well, okay, it's a really big deal for those of us on the ground who are taking all of the names, figuring out who is on. They have to be translated in multiple different languages. You know, it can't be the whole manifest can't just be in English. It has to be in several different languages. It then has to be approved by the State Department, all of the names on board. Then it has to be tied to the carrier, the tail number, and then it has to be tied to the same pilots and to the same stewards and stewardesses, anybody else working on the plane. Then it has to be tied to a country where it can land, and we have to say where those people are going after that. So we have to get all of that information to the State Department and then have them approve it. And once they approve it, we only have like a 5-hour window, something like that, to be able to get the plane onto the tarmac and then take off and get back. Otherwise, it expires. Well, we up until yesterday, we've had We've had one of those, one of those notices from the State Department. And what's weird is they gave it to us an hour after it had expired.
Oh, that's helpful.
Yeah, so it was very helpful. Very, very helpful. We are on the phone with the State Department, and we are not getting any response. At least until we called a few senators, and I want to thank you for calling your senators yesterday. We could use more. We've had several congressmen and senators step to the plate. Please call your senators and congressmen and tell them to ask the State Department what the hell they're doing. I have a lot more to say on this, but I won't at this time. Let me just read what the Daily Caller said. After reaching out to the White House, Strike said he received a response acknowledging the request, but got no follow-up from the White House. What I'm witnessing every day is the very best and the very worst of America, he explained. I've seen the humanity of private citizens who are contracting me and pledging their time, monies, and in some cases their lives to bring our citizens and these Afghan patriots out of harm's way, while at the same time personally experiencing the Biden administration's abject failure to protect its citizens and those Afghans that fought and worked alongside of us. It is morally reprehensible. It has been the U.S. private sector who has stepped up to save blood and treasure the Biden administration is leaving behind. Here's the thing. If we don't get safe passage, if we don't get the State Department and the administration to give us safe passage, then we can't do anything. You know, because we're worried about human trafficking now. So we got to make sure that we get everybody on there who's on there. And quite honestly, I have no problem giving the names and the background checks to the State Department. We're prepared to do that. We do it. But, you know, if we wanted to get somebody, let's say, across the border, which we would never do. But if we had, let's say, a friendly country there on one of the borders of Afghanistan, we can't even bring them across. Think of this. We can't bring people across the border to a country that says they will take them because the State Department won't give us permission to bring people across a border in Afghanistan. Oh, the irony. Oh, the irony.
We should point out, too, for those, and there's been some people who have brought this concern up, I think it's an appropriate concern to make sure that we're not bringing people who are unvetted to the United States.
Yes.
And, of course, the answer to that is they are vetted and they're not coming to the United States. So those are legitimate concerns by people who have talked about this. However, there are concerns that were immediately addressed before this was even announced.
Look at the pictures of the people that are getting onto our plane. You will see families. You will see moms, dads, and children getting onto the plane, right? Mm-hmm. Look at the people. Just search for some of the pictures of some of the people that were sitting there ready to get onto a C-131 transport.
Different pictures.
Yeah. Mainly men with no children and no wives.
And again, those may be the people who made up the assistance to our military. There would be some sense to that. But still, I have much more confidence in a private sector operation doing the vetting than I do the U.S. government under Joe Biden. They can't even count the number of people that they've put on board. We can tell you exactly how many people have arrived at a host country and how many departed. I can tell you exact number. The Pentagon can't. How can you say you're vetting these people when you can't even count them? That doesn't make any sense. By the way, there's Psaki had an interesting statement yesterday she made to Fox News about Americans not being stranded. I want you to hear this.
Most of the criticism is not of leaving Afghanistan. It's the way that he has ordered it to happen. by pulling the troops before getting these Americans who are now stranded. Does he have a sense of that?
First of all, I think it's irresponsible to say Americans are stranded. They are not. We are committed to bringing Americans who want to come home. We are in touch with them via phone, via text, via email, via any way that we can possibly reach Americans to get them home if they want to return home.
There are no Americans stranded is the White House's official position on what's happening in Afghanistan right now.
I'm just calling you out for saying that we are stranding Americans in Afghanistan when we have been very clear that we are not leaving Americans who want to return home. We are going to bring them home. And I think that's important for the American public to hear and understand.
Okay. Okay. You know what's weird is the people that are there feel stranded. The people that are there, it's really interesting to me that a massive airlift, because, these private planes, we can't get these private planes down on the tarmac because all those big transport planes, they're coming and going all the time. And they got helicopters. Just so you know, we've had three, count them, it's been a week, 3 U.S. military helicopters go out to save and rescue people. And, don't worry about it. Americans can get through the gate. They're letting them through the gate. Then why did those 3 military helicopters fly less than 200 meters to go pick up 169 Americans? If it's so easy to get through the gate, why did we have to send Chinook helicopters 200 meters away from the gate? Tell me that. Why? These are lies that you are hearing. These are lies. By the way, I think we have flown in the last week under 20 flights. Under 20. We did 2 yesterday. We did 2. Against all odds, 2. In the last week, the American government has flown 20. What the hell is going on? By the way, with every passing day, it becomes more and more difficult to get out. Adam Schiff said yesterday, we're not going to be done by the 31st. White House is saying we're going to be done by the 31st. I don't trust either of them. However, I will tell you this. The Taliban warned us. It's a red line. President Biden told us August 31st would be the withdrawal of all of their forces. So if they extend it, it means they are extending the occupation while there is no need for that. If they are to ask for additional time to continue evacuations, the answer is no, or there will be consequences. He said extending the deadline would create mistrust between us. We don't trust you, and you don't give us a red line. When is our president going to grow a set and do the right thing?